Welcome to the NWSL Challenge Cup presented by P&G and Secret. It has been a beautiful day in Herriman, Utah for match day 2 from Zions Bank Stadium. Opening game for OL Reign and Sky Blue FC on CBS Sports. Sky Blue FC trying to make a run in this tournament, missed the playoffs last year. OL Reign finished 4th and feel like their retooled roster could make a real dent in this tournament. Look at the NWSL Challenge Cup, this game 4 of a 23-game tournament, all streamed on CBS All Access. Every team will reach the knockout phase, the final July 26th on CBS. With that, we say hello, everybody. Welcome back with Lori Lindsay, former U.S. Women's National Team midfielder, and Marissa Pilla. Mike Watts on hand. There may not be more fundamentally different franchises from 2019 entering 2020 than OL Reign and Sky Blue FC. So what to expect out of this matchup now, Lori?
Well, because of that, much like the Houston-Utah game, many unknowns coming into this one as well. OL Reign, busy offseason for them, new owner, new coach, and new international signings. In particular, one of those international signings, Shirley Cruz, Costa Rican captain, one of the best midfielders in the world. She can open up space, play that final pass, but she can also get into the box and score goals.
And great at Lyon underneath new head coach Fareed Bensidi. Meanwhile, for Sky Blue, Midge Purse, right?
Midge Person, this is one of the most aggressive off seasons Sky Blue has had in terms of player acquisition. She's a versatile winger. She comes to Sky Blue from Portland. She has a good engine, can get up and down the field, but also get into the attack, create numbers up situations, and help score goals. And
scored 5 goals in 5 games during a stretch last year for Portland during the Women's World Cup. OL Reign, Sky Blue FC, both kick off in this tournament. We've got lineups and kickoff next on CBS Sports. Welcome back to Zions Bank Stadium. Let's go down to the field for the playing of our national anthem. Referees, players, both starters and those on the bench, and the coaching staffs out on the field in a show of unity. Commissioner Lisa Baird said the National Women's Soccer League stands behind every player, official, and staff member. Kneel on the field, stand with your hand over your heart, honor your feelings in the privacy of the locker room or at midfield. That the NWSL is a league that was built on diversity and courage. Those principles will continue to drive us forward. With Lori Lindsay, Mike Watts on hand. The Sky Blue FC side hoping to make a run in this tournament. OL Reign made the playoffs last year and are hoping to do the same. Make at least a semifinal run. 4-3-3 is the opening lineup issued by Fareed Bensidi. The new head coach Cruz and Cook make their debuts.
Keep your eye on the front 3 up top for Reign, particularly number 9, Jodie Taylor. She's going to be the one that's going to be testing that back line for Sky Blue, opening up space for Allie Long, number 6, and 28, Shirley Cruz, to be able to work their magic, be able to send final passes into Bethany Balser and Darian Jenkins. In particular, Allie Long is a player that's going to be pulling the strings, setting the tempo for Reign this evening. Good on the ball, good decision making, So simple. As you can see, she can get into the box, score goal scoring chances herself, and be dynamic out of that midfield.
Meanwhile, for Sky Blue FC, Freya Kuhn took over late last year, sends out this 4-3-3. Sheridan, a goalkeeper of the year finalist a year ago. You're looking at how Naomi Kawasumi might move around in this lineup.
To absolutely pinch in and work off of number 16, Sarah Waldmo. The two of them and how they can combine tonight will be instrumental going forward and be able to create chances in the attack. But it's newcomer McCall Zaboni is going to be the one that's in there, the engine of this team, the one that keeps this team together in terms of glue. Midfield stalwart for this team. Big time leader.
Western New York, Portland, Boston, North Carolina, most recently 6 trophies won in the NWSL. Cancer Boney helped players like Sheridan and some of these younger Sky Blue players elevate themselves to the next level. Casey Murphy, second round pick of Sky Blue, heads back to her goal. Let's head to the public address announcer in Utah.
We now pause for a moment of recognition. Across the nation and around the world, the Black Lives Matter movement has provided new platforms for oppressed voices to be heard. With a moment of silence, we ask you to recognize the countless names of victims of racial injustices here and abroad, and to stand with those who have fought for equality worldwide and those who continue to fight today. With our collective voices, we emphatically say, Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
You can see the tears from Midge Purse. It has been an emotional week, Lori, as all 8 teams have taken a moment to recognize the Black Lives Matter movement and the death of George Floyd and others. Now it's finally time to kick off the 2020 season. The final 2 sides in this tournament to debut. Sky Blue FC taking on OL Reign in their first game with a new name and new management. Sky Blue in black, OL Reign in white. Sky Blue trying to sneak through the side from New Jersey. And how exciting the changes for Sky Blue over the last handful of months. They've moved into the Red Bulls training facility, which they feel is more on par with the league around them. They have moved their games to Red Bull Arena moving forward for the planned 2020 season after being at Rutgers Yersack Field in past years. Free kick won by Sky Blue. I mean, major steps forward for an organization.
Mike, we mentioned early on how aggressive they were with their personnel, bringing players in. Will be missing Mal Pugh and Carly Lloyd, 2 big-time players in the attack for them, but at the same time, still have enough pieces, a good balance between young and experienced players. Freya Kuhn feels like they're in a good spot coming into this tournament, able to watch all the teams prior to this last game in the opening round.
Sun pouring through here in Utah. It was a drizzly morning for a tremendous 3-3 draw. 2 goals for Rachel Daly for Houston. It's taken away by Long for the Reign. Barnes steers it aside. McNabb racing onto this. Darian Jenkins. Great slide in the back. That's Lewandowski, the 35-year-old who has one cap for the national team back in 2015. You think set pieces could be big for OL Reign?
We're just looking at the players on Reign. Allie Long, Rebecca Quinn, Shirley Cruz, Alana Cook, all of these players, easily some of the best in this league in the air.
Stephanie Cox. Goal kick for Sheridan. Players like Allie Long could be a real nightmare on set pieces.
Well, just her willingness to put her body into the mix, sacrifice herself to get ahead on it. And not only that, it's her timing and just understanding of where the ball is going to be played.
It's a heavy touch from Monahan.
And my first 15 minutes are going to be so important for both of these teams. Reign talked about getting on the front foot, potentially playing a bit more direct in this game than they normally would like to circulate the ball around, build up, but feel like with the three front runners that they're starting tonight, can get in behind Sky Blue's defense. And for Sky Blue, first 15 minutes are important because this is a new look for this team. Some familiar faces, but new coaching staff. Freya Coombe only coached the last 5 games of last season and now starting to implement her identity, what she wants from this team. And so can they build confidence, especially bringing in a few of these new faces like McCall Zaboni, Gina Lewandowski.
Certainly Midge Purse, and then trailing in behind Kawasumi, who was injured at back end last year as well. Purse steps in for Sky Blue, and she can really streak forward. Slip ball ahead. Monahan chasing all the way toward the corner. Swings the cross in toward Anamanu. Notably out for Sky Blue, you mentioned Lloyd Pugh, Noamani Dorsey was downgraded to questionable coming in and is not on the roster. Caprice Didasco is also out of the tournament due to injury. You mentioned trying to get in behind Sky Blue. Megan Rapinoe opted out of playing in the tournament, as was her right. Marie Bencidi said on the phone, I want to coach the best players in the world, and she could have been the best in this tournament. But also out tonight, Jess Fishlock won't make her return, and Sofia Huerta won't make her debut for OL Reign. Zerboni. Richardson takes the space. Waldmo, formerly Killian. Zerboni playing Kawasumi. Corner, Sky Blue.
And I like this tempo already from Sky Blue. They look bold in possession, looking to see if they can connect in that midfield with number 16, Waldmo, Richardson, and Zerboni. That's where they're going to need to get to set play. Those three getting on the ball and then looking to spring Kawasumi and even Anamanu up top.
Short corner for Sky Blue, and now they swing the cross through. Short of Anamanu. Alana Cook steps in. Anamanu, time in Boston and Portland. 8th overall pick back in 2017 by the Breakers. Spent last year with OL Reign, and they felt like maybe she was underutilized. They hope she can make an impact for Sky Blue up front, but it's OL Reign on the front foot now. Taylor and Jenkins making runs with Long coming in behind. Didn't quite get through. McNabb. This is an interesting area of Sheridan's game that you want to see continue to progress, because Sheridan does have the skill to play out of the back.
Well, arguably one of the best in the league and potentially even the world with her feet. And if Sky Blue is able to utilize that coming out of the back, that's going to give them a different dimension in their build-up play and being able to get out the ball on those midfielders like they want. Last year they didn't see enough of that. A lot of the play was going long from Sheridan.
McNabb. That'll ricochet off Monahan, lead to a corner for OL Reign. Cox. Quinn couldn't shuffle that back into play. Cox, the Gig Harbor High School head coach, as well as playing professionally. Won a 3A title in 2018. 79 games coached, she's lost 6. I'm sure she would thank the players for that, but I'm sure the players would say coaching has something to do with it. Lewandowski, now Purse. This sort of fits the mold of what we heard from Freya Kuhn. We're going to possess the ball more.
I want to possess the ball, but I'm also looking at where the Reign are picking up and defending, because we knew coming in, Bensati talking to us about they're not going to just press all over the field. They're going to pick and choose their times, when to go, and then if they can, press or counter press right away, but at the same time just allowing Sky Blue to have possession in the back, force them to make mistakes, and then look to spring those attackers into the in behind and into the box.
Such significant personnel changes for Sky Blue as well. Should allow them to play that style just a little bit more. We talked about Alana Cook, 5'9", Allie Long listed 5'8", Rebecca Quinn 5'9". A free kick here can be really difficult for Sky Blue to deal with. Zerboni in the middle of the pack there, looking to defend. Ball going all the way toward the back post.
And Mike, not even the players on the end of these set pieces, but the service that's coming in as well. Look at Steph Cox on the corner kicks, and then Lauren Barnes, the one that just took the free kick there. The quality of service that they have is unbelievable. So the more that they can build into this, there is an area that they can take advantage of throughout this tournament with the players that they have to be able to get on the end of them, make sure that the service is consistent throughout.
Richardson. Purse. Breakout year last season, 8 goals for Portland. Purse pushing through, slid aside. Purse could get a crack at this and rolls it wide. Purse, one of the big additions for Sky Blue, but certainly McCall Zerboni is as well. And for more on her role, let's join Marissa Pilla on the sideline for the first time tonight.
Sky Sky Blue midfielder McCall Zabroni takes her leadership role on this team very seriously. McCall told me she came to Sky Blue trying to set an example of how she approaches the game with a no time wasted mentality, preaching to her teammates they need to maximize every moment they have on the field together. McCall also said that this tournament is going to be gone in the blink of an eye, and she wants her team to enjoy the process while also maximizing their success.
And you've got to love that leadership. And this is what we're talking about. McCall played every season in this league. And just her leadership, and we talked about her being the glue. Well, that is the fire you want, especially when you're building a new team, you're creating a new identity, a winning mentality. And she'll understand that coming from the North Carolina Courage.
I think hundreds of thousands of people have seen her pregame speeches in some capacity or another.
I mean, you and I have.
I was asking Freya Coombe, so is it similar to what you hear? And she goes, exactly what you read about McCall Zerboni. Tough as nails, the leader who can get a team from mid-tier to the top tier. I certainly hope that's the case. Monahan has moved off to the left-hand side. Cox couldn't clear that. Monahan continues further and can get a cross in. Manu, Alana Cook. Balser, the rookie of the year in the NWSL last season, second team All-11. Balser, an incredible story out of NAIA's Spring Arbor University, three-time National Player of the Year, largely seen because her sister played there, but joins the likes on the men's side of NAIA standouts. Christian Ramirez comes to mind. Stephen Lenhart comes to mind in MLS. But what a season she had. 6 goals for OL Reign, helping them to the playoffs.
I really look forward to how she can rise to the occasion during this tournament, especially with some of the new additions, some of the new players. Huerta is out tonight, but where will she fit into this mix? And just the rise in competition of this Reign team. How will Balser react to that, and could she even elevate her game even more? Because as you mentioned, Mike, she was such an important part last season.
Kristen McNabb. Chase down Jenkins from a wide area. McNabb closed down by Monahan, wins the Sky Blue throw. It's our second game today. Utah Royals and Houston Dash played an unreal game this afternoon. Rachel Daly scores twice. Shea Groom with a great goal in the run of play. Vero scores a gorgeous free kick. And in the end, Sierra King in the 89th minute equalizes, give Utah a point. We'll have highlights of that one at halftime. It's worth a watch. We've seen 12 goals in 3 games so far. So much for the concerns of a little rust. Estelle Johnson clears away.
And there were so many question marks coming in about what that would look like. Were there going to be goals in the first half? How the teams would start? Would they be able to get into a rhythm? In terms of fitness-wise, and a lot of these teams getting off on the front foot, and they haven't looked back. I'm quite surprised about this game so far, though. Much slower pace than I expected. I expected OL Reign coming out, according to what Ben Insadi said to us, saying they were going to get on that front foot, look to spring Jody Taylor in behind the back line of Sky Blue. We've yet to see that. Pretty low pressure defensively from both teams, allowing each team attacking-wise just to probe, keep the ball. I would like to see a team step up, put a little bit more pressure on, and see if they can force some turnovers and mistakes in the final third.
Purse, incredibly crafty, but the ball to Monahan runs too far.
And not a bad idea by Purse. That final pass just a little heavy. But as we mentioned, this is what she'll bring to this Sky Blue team. Her ability to get up and down that sideline, create numbers up in the attack. And she does like to cut inside, look to see if she can score goals herself.
A player with some serious positional versatility. Who knows where she'd be playing should Carly Lloyd, Mallory Pugh be in the lineup, and how do you want to juggle Amani Dorsey, and their decisions that you could make that could move Purse around the field a little bit.
And that's one of the additions of these players, like Midge Purse, giving them more tactical versatility. You can play different formations. You can play her in different positions. Just gives you a different look across the board.
It's a good-looking run. Long, plays Jenkins. Jenkins cutting further, and this is cracked at Sheridan. McNabb stepping forward, got a blast away.
And if Darian Jenkins can continue to stay wide, she'll have a lot of success. A lot of numbers in that midfield. She does like to cut in, though, brings the ball back into the mix, back into a number of players. A good look by McNabb. Easy for Sheridan.
McNabb, who has 1 goal in 54 games in her career. There's McNabb now. Laura Harvey, the former head coach before Black Leninofsky, and now Fareed Bensidi, used to claim her work rate incredible. Jenkins continues, heavy bobble, driven away from Sheridan. Came in with a lot of pace.
And the first time she cuts in, this time she tries to take Midge Purse down line. Mixing it up in the attack, exactly what you want to do, especially against a defender like Midge Purse, who has the ability to recover athletically, but also positionally, keeps her feet moving. Mike, this will be interesting, this matchup down this left-hand side with McNabb getting into the mix, overloading numbers as well.
Jenkins into the penalty area and slips it across again. Knocked over Cruz. Quinn. That took a deflection. Corner coming again for OL Reign. They have really tried to pin Midge Purse back with that left-hand side between Jenkins and McNabb.
Well, right now it's too easy for Darian Jenkins. Receiving the ball out wide, having her way with it. The pressure to come out to close her down is too slow.
This will fall kindly. Lifted over by Cruz. Mike Watts, former U.S. women's national team midfielder, Lori Lindsay, NWSL vet, Marissa Pilla on our sideline. OL Reign and Sky Blue looking to pick up points in their opening game of this 4-game preliminary round before the knockout stage begins at the NWSL Challenge Cup in Utah. Manu back, Zerboni slices this. First opportunity that reaches Casey Murphy. Barnes pushes on the long. Strikes that long diagonal perfectly. Balser making a move.
That's a good ball by Allie Long. First ball of that kind in this game. It's a player that's going to open it up, switch the point of attack, allow for Balser to get out the other side.
Great work by Flores to deny that. Slicing ball, Lewandowski checks in, and Purse is covering the run by Jenkins.
With the players that the Reign have, especially in the midfield, the quicker that they can move the ball. Doesn't always mean 1 and 2 touch, but just move the ball quickly, have an idea of where you're going next. The more they can unbalance the Sky Blue team. We've seen success when they switch the point of attack, get other numbers up, outside backs, overload those numbers out wide. But when they play too slow, it's easy for Sky Blue to shift their numbers. We see all of Sky Blue shifting over. See all the room over here on this near side.
They've been able to swing it around. They found space there. Jenkins plays McNabb down the line. Cuts back to Jenkins. Balser crossing too far. Go down to Marissa Pilla on the field. Get back to Marissa momentarily. Sky Blue effectively gets out of the corner. And now what can Anamanu do? Alana Cook on skates for a moment. Zerboni sprays it wide. Flores for Kawasumi. Kawasumi beloved in the Seattle area. 5 years for the Reign. Anamanu. Slide in leads to a Sky Blue corner.
That's a better build-up play from Sky Blue. Haven't called Kawasumi's name, but she's going to be an important piece going forward in terms of possession, but also just her tactical understanding of where to be. Starts with her, and then they're able to be patient and find Anamanu. Good recovery run by Reign.
Service lifted up, and that's a heavy push from Estelle Johnson, who goes back to check on Cox. The 27th minute, scoreless between Reign, Sky Blue of New Jersey. Of note, every game of this tournament will have hydration breaks, regardless of the temperature. It was very necessary on opening day. North Carolina played Portland to a 2-1 North Carolina win. Temperatures in the 90s, temperatures in the 60s now in Utah. That is a great turn caught by Sheridan. Turned over to Quinn. Spins by Monahan. Cruz. Balser.
And now Reign starting to get more players. Shirley Cruz getting into the mix. But this will be a question mark with her coming from playing from Europe. And Sadi's talked to us about, can she be able to play right away and have an impact in terms of the level of play, the physicality of the play. And that's one thing that she's going to need to be aware of, just her position, finding and getting herself in those half spaces to be the most effective.
Ball pinged wide by Richardson. Calls her Boney. In her first game for Sky Blue. Cracked for goal. Murphy has that under control. Hurst. Monahan slid out to Cruz, whose head up, trying to pick out a pass, and will slow it down.
And right now for both teams, everything feels so reactive. There's no one that's being proactive in terms of their movement off the ball. As soon as OL Reign wins it there, Jodie Taylor's checking back to the ball. Her best ability is getting on that back shoulder of the defenders and running after. Send the ball over the top, stretch Sky Blue, see if you can open up some space. At the same time for Sky Blue, can you continue to find those midfielders? Same thing. Look to see if Anamano can get on the back shoulder, stretch, open up the midfield, find a bit more rhythm. It's so methodical for both teams. Neither's really breaking each other down. Just playing in front of one another.
McNabb. That left channel has been closed down a bit more by Sky Blue as the game has gone along. Probably necessary. Kawasumi goes to ground. And with that, we've reached a hydration break. OL Reign and Sky Blue FC getting their first taste of live game action in 2020 at the NWSL Challenge Cup. Still looking for that opening goal. When Houston played Utah earlier today, it was the hydration break that really turned the tide. See if the same can be said for the nightcap. You're watching the NWSL on CBS Sports. OL Reign and Sky Blue looking for that opening goal. For OL Reign, they had a really spectacular opportunity to coalesce together. Let's go down to the sideline and find out more on that with Marissa Pilla.
Because of training restrictions in the state of Washington, OL Reign went to Montana for their preseason training, and both coaches and players agreed that it was probably one of the best things that could have happened for this team. Head coach Fareed Ben-Stidi said because of the openness of Montana, they were able to play with a sense of freedom that they couldn't have back in Washington State. He said it just allowed them to play a little bit lighter and get to know each other better without all the seriousness heading around what's going on with the COVID-19 pandemic. He said it brought the team closer together, and it also gave them an opportunity to get used to this type of village setup that's happening here at the NWSL Challenge Cup.
And Marissa, we were told by Bill Predmore, the CEO, minority owner, OL Reign came in, took a majority share over the offseason. That deal closed in January. $200,000 in expenses outlaid to make that happen. I mean, that isn't old NWSL. That's NWSL 2.0.
And it shows what this OL Reign team and organization are trying to do. Build one of the best organizations in the world and taking care of their players on all aspects. And as a player, being able to go away for 2 weeks prior to a tournament like this, a replication of a season, is so valuable to be able to get to know your players, as Marissa mentioned, or your teammates, excuse me, and be able just to understand each other both on and off the field. I guarantee that will pay dividends not only for this tournament, but going into the 2021 season as well.
And professional soccer fans in the U.S. owe, I think, a debt of gratitude to Bill and Teresa Predmore for all that they've done in the Seattle area over the years with this initially Seattle Reign, then Reign FC, and they moved it to Tacoma, and now OL Reign. They have had a spectacular run of ownership, including a couple shields. Play resumes after the hydration break. OL Reign in their first year under new management. Olympique Lyonnais of France taking a majority ownership role. Bill Predmore remains on for the day-to-day. New head coach, Farid Benstiti, who previously was the coach at not only Paris Saint-Germain, although he did not coincide with Ali Long there, but also at OL Reign, hired back in January. And there's excitement around OL Reign. They talk about having the ambition to consistently compete and win trophies in this league.
I was able to speak with Ali Long earlier this week, and she says she's loving the training environment. Farid bringing that European understanding of the game just gives them a different tactical awareness out in the field. But also just what they've put together, the international players they brought in, such a good mix of players to compete, especially after last season, which was such a struggle in terms of the injuries they saw. Looking to put that season behind them and start new.
Ball launched in front, Long got a touch, and now away by Purse. Corner, OL Reign, 35 minutes in.
And Mike, that's a good look. We see Ali Long making the run into the box there. Jody Taylor and Darian Jenkins in the box as well. Every time the Reign have been able to put balls into the box, they've caused trouble. So it's balls over the top, the penetrating runs. So difficult to defend, and opens up space underneath.
Cox.
And you mentioned in the Houston-Utah game, the water break, the hydration break, bringing life to that game. Felt like there's a few tweaks that were made.
Balser, header lifted over by Jenkins.
And so far, it looks like the Reign has gotten a little bit more life to their game, starting to pick up the pace that we've been talking about. Much slower start than we expected, especially from Reign. Balser does a good job of just no-look pass to flick this one in. Difficult, though, to be able to get that one on frame with the bounce.
Cruz, the Costa Rican captain. Her first game for OL Reign. Waldmo circles back. Calm sky blue. spent much of their offseason working on principles, what they call the non-negotiables. Ask Freya Kum about that. Freya will be unwilling to give all the answers away.
Tight-lipped.
It's tough to explain if I can't tell you. Can you tell us? No. But when you're trying to implant your DNA, it's those non-negotiables that can really turn a franchise around in short order if you do them right. Trouble there for Barnes. Anamanu. Barnes trying to get back. Anamanu lifts that just too high. Didn't have the support and decided to go for goal.
This is the best opportunity of the game for Sky Blue. Anamanu, exactly where you want her. Running at this back line, picks up this ball, twists and turns Lauren Barnes. I wish she would have kept going, cut her right there and see if she can get another opportunity. She gets underneath that one. But with Anamanu's pace, her ability on the ball, being able to twist and turn quite quickly. See if you can get her the ball early and often. Let her run at the back line with Rain.
Now, how do you get her the ball in the position to do that then if you're Sky Blue at this point?
We'll see if you can find your midfielders, Waldmo or Nicole Zaboni, and see if they can get on the half turn, and then you look to play her quickly, whether it's to her feet or in behind and her sitting on that back shoulder of those two center backs.
Jenkins had Zerboni leaning in to try and get ahead to that. Go back and take a look at Anamanu's effort earlier when she was able to take advantage of a marginal miscue in the back. Of course, plenty of fans in New Jersey waiting with bated breath to see if that finds the corner.
But that's what you want. Your number 9 running at back lines, feeling confident, looking to take shots.
We heard about her hunger, maybe a little more confidence. This played wide. Zerboni sizes up the defender. Gets end line.
Kum has high expectations for Anamanu. Talked about her really filling the void of the absence of Lloyd and Pugh. Gonna look to her to create chances, help link play as well, because she is good back to goal. And when she gets faced, it's scary.
Walser plays back. Getting forward. Keep that away from Jenkins. Turn by Taylor. We were asking Friedman City maybe the difference defensively between how he wants to play and how Vlatko Ananovsky had his side play. This ball lifted toward Monahan from Anamanu. He said more compact, a little less pressing. They're going to go about things a little differently than the current manager of the U.S. women's national team went about it when he led OL Reign.
Also said, coming in, there was so much talk about transitional defense, getting the press on the ball, and he was like, if you don't lose the ball, you don't have to have anything to do with transitional defense. So as this tournament wears on, I would imagine Reign even grows into more possession, keeping the ball for longer stints as they really settle into those rhythms up top.
Set piece here through Richardson. Hurst denies the clearance by Taylor. Waning minutes of the first half. We know NWSL Reign and Sky Blue, each team's first game this tournament, of course, of 2020.
We're going back to what we were just talking about, Mike, with Reign and their defense. Gonzati did talk about putting pressure on and picking and choosing their times. And I just don't feel like we have seen them pick and choose their times in terms of when to press. We've seen them drop off immediately, give time and space to Sky Blue, but we haven't seen that press. I would like to see them to step up their pressure, at least for these last few minutes. See if they can pick the pockets of some of these defenders of Sky Blue, put them under pressure, see if they can play out of that press.
In possession now as McNabb plays it forward. Jenkins snuck out of that. Balser, the rookie of the year a year ago. Estelle Johnson launches away. Settled by Lewandowski. That's what you like to see out of your goalkeeper.
I love that. Why just kick the ball and give it away? Now they're able to build, and this is something that Coombe wants them to do. Be confident in possession, build out of the back. And if you have a keeper that's confident to do that, just continues throughout the team. This is the best sequence we've seen all game.
Flores gets forward, Kawasumi! That ball blocked away, Murphy was there, two defenders trailing as well.
And that's a fantastic recovery run.
And Hurst winds that too far.
That is the best sequence we've seen all game. It all starts with Kaylin Sheridan. Her ability just to be simple out of the back, find the open player. And as we talked about, it just allows you to have confidence. They're just able to get out the other side. Reign has no answers for this, and this is a fantastic run from Kawasumi. But look at this recovery run from Lauren Barnes. The ability to slide, get her body in front of that ball. Not even forcing Casey Murphy to come up with a save. This game should be 1-0 Sky Blue, though, with that possession. That little combination play from the back of, all the way back from Kaylin Sheridan.
Offside flag was up. 3 minutes of stoppage time here. Coming up during the NWSL Challenge Cup halftime report presented by Secret, we take a look at the incredible 3-3 draw between Houston and Utah. We give you an update on the injury to Allie Watt for North Carolina, suffered on Saturday. And we'll show you the schedule for tomorrow's doubleheader. Teams trying to get to the top of the standings, two trying to stay out of the basement. Zerboni continues to follow this. Cruz, European star from Costa Rica, on the ball again.
We've seen Darian Jenkins pinch in so much, she just puts herself into trouble. Just stay a bit wider, allow yourself, buy yourself time away from the defenders.
Balser showing off that speed. Brody Taylor the target. Quinn about 20 seconds before the halftime whistle. Quinn, long, McNabb. That should take us to the halftime whistle. It was rather prescient. 0-0 at halftime between Sky Blue and OL Reign.
Not the start that we thought from either of these teams. Both teams dropping off. I would like to see the midfielders get involved more, set the tempo, start to play a bit quicker, see if they can switch the point of attack. Each team, when they get it wide, they're finding some success. So can they continue to do that in the second half?
Sheridan called into service a couple times, Murphy as well. As OL Reign and Sky Blue scoreless at halftime. Let's go down to Marissa Pillow, who stands by with Darian Jenkins.
Darian, a scoreless first half, but your team created a lot of opportunities in the final third. How do you start connecting on those?
Yeah, I think, we can finish a lot faster. I had a couple shots that I could have hit on target or just hit a little sooner. So I think we were starting to find our rhythm there at the end, a lot of quicker passes, and I think that's how we're going to break them down and hopefully score some goals.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Darian Jenkins ran a lot of yards in that first half up and down the left-hand side, but still scoreless here. That concludes the first half of play. We'll be back with more of the NWSL Challenge Cup presented by P&G and Secret. Thanks for joining us here for the NWSL Challenge Cup halftime report presented by Secret. Back in Utah as Sky Blue and OL Reign make their tournament debut. Let's take a look at what happened for the 6 teams who have already played. North Carolina over Portland on CBS on Saturday. Lynn Williams scores in the 4th minute of second half stoppage time for the game winner. Bad news coming in today. North Carolina announcing Allie Watt tore her right ACL. The Texas A&M rookie will be out the rest of the way in this tournament. Meanwhile, Washington knocks off Chicago. Rose Lavelle and Ashley Hatch both score in that game. And Lori, everyone's buzzing about the 3-3 draw between Houston and Utah. Let's take a look at the highlights from earlier today. 35th minute, Diana Matheson missed last year with foot surgery, immediately back on the score sheet in 2020.
And here she is, a little darting run. All she has to do is redirect this ball from Amy Rodriguez, but it all starts from midfielder Labonte to spring Amy Rodriguez through and to be able to have time and space to play that ball across to Matheson. And then right before half, it's Rachel Daly finds herself wide open in the box. No one picks her up. Abby Smith comes out, and all she has to do is touch this one past outrunning Abby Smith in goal.
Move forward to the 47th minute. Rachel Daly scores again. Could have had a hat trick if not for a controversial call, but she'll take this.
Fantastic header for her, leader of this Houston Dash team. But it'd be Shea Groom in the 67th minute. A good addition to this Houston Dash attack and showing why. She finds herself wide open at the top of the box, redirects that one into the far post.
Gorgeous goal. Speaking of, Vero not to be outdone in the 82nd.
And it looks as if Jane Campbell's going to get a touch on this, but with the speed and pace of that ball and that free kick, there's nothing she can do. Finds the back of the net. Why Vero is so important to Utah's team.
And then in the 89th minute, a star rising first-round pick out of NC State, Sierra King scores the equalizer.
All she has to do is redirect this. She loses her mark, finds herself, and this is not an easy goal. But well done by the rookie.
Who has a lot of new fans in Utah as well, caught up with her postgame.
You know, obviously this whole day was special to me. And from the warm-up, Craig had told me, you're going to be that spark off the bench, and I'm glad I could step up into that role that they wanted me to be. So.
NWSL coverage continues from Utah. Challenge Cup 2020 presented by P&G and Secret. CBS Sports HQ has pregame and postgame coverage for Portland and Chicago. Begins 12:15 Eastern. Game coverage begins on CBS All Access at 12:30. Washington and North Carolina, top of the table, finish out the night on Wednesday. We'll be right back with more of the NWSL Challenge Cup halftime report presented by Secret. Dusk in the Wasatch Mountains outside Salt Lake City. In Herriman, the NWSL Challenge Cup continues. It's Match Day 2, game number 4. OL Reign taking on Sky Blue FC. We're scoreless at the halftime break. Welcome in, everybody. Glad to have you with us. We'll take a look here at highlights and stats in a moment. Mike Watts joined by U.S. Women's National Team midfielder Lori Lindsay. And it felt like both teams, Lori, were trying to feel each other out a little bit. So what kind of adjustments would you make going into the second half, Coach?
Well, both teams need to speed up the tempo of play in possession, but also defensively. Can you get pressure on the ball quicker? Everything around the field, around the pitch, too slow right now, too methodical. And also, can you get your midfielders involved more? Allie Long, Sarah Waldmo, can they be the ones that are going to take charge, start to speed up the tempo, and pull the strings?
Let's take a look at our first half highlights. We don't have a goal, but we do have a couple good chances to keep an eye on. We begin with Kristen McNabb, the outside back, getting forward for OL Reign.
Good combination play by Darian Jenkins and Kristen McNabb. She holds her run and then gets this first time shot off. Nothing that's really going to test Kaylin Sheridan, but good look on goal early on. And if they can continue to do this, those are the moments that we're talking about. Speed up the play and get good looks on goal. Anamanu on the other end. This is what you want. Your number 9 running at the back line, taking chances, feeling confident. Just sends this one over the bar, but again, slicing and dicing Lauren Barnes for the Reign. Continue to take players on.
And then in the 45th minute, really the best opportunities for Sky Blue came after the hydration break. This time, they try and sneak in behind.
Best combination play, total football sequence throughout. Starting back with Kaylin Sheridan, playing simple out of the back. Kawasumi will want this one back. She takes the touch. But it's the recovery run by Lauren Barnes, her experience to keep that one out of the back of the net.
Here are your halftime stats. 7 shots apiece, large in part. These look borderline identical.
The game was pretty identical in general. Not many chances for each team. Possession, pretty slow. So can we continue to speed up the play?
We've got a second half coming up here, and history is said in this tournament, 0-0 simply will not do. Dancing from the outset, a few tears from Midge Purse as a moment of remembrance before kickoff. This has been the NWSL Challenge Cup halftime report presented by Secret. Second half coming up. Welcome back to the NWSL Challenge Cup, presented by P&G and Secret. Second half set to be underway here as the sun has slowly set over Utah. OL Reign taking on Sky Blue FC as both sides looking to get on the board, pick up their first point or points of this tournament. All 8 teams will go to the quarterfinal, but seeding can be so crucial as the road to a title here belongs on those 3 games. Midge Purse picking up some additional coaching as this Sky Blue side looks to really come out strong to begin this second half. Freya Coombe caught up with our Marissa Pilla at halftime. Marissa, what did the head coach have to say?
That's right. I just talked to Sky Blue head coach Freya Coombe, and she said at the end of the first half, her team really started to show their capabilities and what they can accomplish on the attack. She said in order to keep doing that, they need to be patient in the possession, let it build up a little bit more, but she also likes those balls over the top and the opportunities that those are providing her. On defense, her midfield needs to stay more compact, and that really echoes what she told us earlier in the week, that her team cannot allow to concede easy goals. She wants the opponents to fight for their opportunities.
What did you make out of the end of that first half, Lori, for Sky Blue? Because the last 10, 15 minutes, certainly the best opportunities, as Freya alluded to.
We did start to see that combination play that ended with that Kawasumi opportunity and what they are capable of at the Sky Blue team. It goes back to, again, just getting those midfielders in there, Waldmo, Zerboni, Richardson. Can they get on the ball more? Can they start to dictate play, switch the point of attack? And I think we're going to start to see things open up, but it's got to be with a little bit more urgency. Not fast, just urgency to break those lines and force Reign to shift and move in their midfield.
Ready to go for the second half of play between OL Reign and Sky Blue FC. Sky Blue making the first change of this half. H. Monahan out, Elizabeth Eddy comes on. Both teams have 5 substitutes available. You're allowed to use 3 shifts to make those changes, as has become common in other leagues around the world. Long gets this in front and nearly directed it past Sheridan.
This is what makes Allie Long a special midfielder, just her timing of getting into the box, those late runs. She's disappointed with herself here because she knows she could have done better. But well done by Kawasumi to be able to track back, make that difficult for Long to get any good look on it.
Doesn't take a master's degree to be able to read her emotion there. Zerboni tried to thread this through, and Cox, with Flores following, just gets away from Balser. Remember last year, Sky Blue took on the Reign in August, drew 9,415 fans at Red Bull Arena. Major crowd. No one in attendance for this one. Plenty watching from home, waiting for that first goal for either side of 2020. Pounds out to Cox at the halfway line. Kawasumi. Zerboni overhit that.
And that's the second time in this second half that McCall Zerboni has found some good space in between that midfield and back line of the Reign. Chooses the wrong option on this last one. Should have gone to the far side, switch the point of attack, and get out the other end. But again, it's those spaces in between the lines. If she can occupy those, it's going to cause a lot of trouble, force the Reign defense to decide if they're going to step up or drop off.
Sky Blue charging forward again. Throw for Reign. Finished precisely even in goal difference, 27-4, 27 against last year under Vlatko Ananovsky. Finished 4th in the league, made the playoffs, but for them to do that, given all the constraints around them, the World Cup injuries, fascinating story in the NWSL last year. Balser gets the return. Kawasumi slides in, takes Balser down with her. Corner coming for Reign.
Balser starting to work her way into this game down this right-hand side. Fantastic slide by Kawasumi.
Short corner. We'll try that again. Isn't that gorgeous, the backdrop here? Picturesque. Zions Bank Stadium in Herriman. Another corner. Quinn knew that was going to shoot over. And the Canadian international helps to keep it alive. Kawasumi. Dangerous error. Balser is looking for an immense amount of curl.
And she's disappointed with that one. Knows she's got to do better. That's a gift from Kawasumi, uncharacteristic of her, just to give this one away. Bit of miscommunication there between her and Flores.
Blue able to hold on through Anamanu. And to dip in. Purse for Anamanu.
The right ideas, but it's got to be better. It's just not crisp enough. Too many giveaways.
Balser sought out Jenkins on the diagonal.
And especially with the amount of room that Reign is giving Sky Blue these first few minutes of the second half. So much time in the midfield. We've seen McCall Zaboni already on the ball more than she was in the first half, able to turn. It's so easy. No one's closing her down. So then if you have that time and space, you've got to be able to connect the balls. You've got to take advantage of it. You're trying to instill purposeful possession. First key to that is keeping possession and keeping the ball, and then you can look to go forward. Exactly what Marissa reported to us about. Be patient.
Trouble in the back. Players perhaps a bit confused, and there's a big smile there as well from Jody Taylor. Shirley Cruz leading this Reign side just a little bit higher up the field now, right?
And that's what they want. Higher pressure up the field. See if they can force Sky Blue to play out of pressure. We saw it a few times in the first half. They were able to break it down. But can they do that consistently?
Got over Lewandowski. Balser pushing into the box. Reign on it again. Cox. Balser. This is better from Sky Blue. Kawasumi, and now Zerboni charging across midfield. Plays on to Kawasumi, who latches, drives across. That's simple for Murphy.
And the right idea by Kawasumi, just overhits that one to Anamanu. But the build-up play, Sky Blue starting to find some rhythm, starting to work through the midfielders. Combination play that's breaking down Reign. Just that final ball that's missing right now. You got to imagine that will start to come. That's usually the last piece, Mike, for a lot of these teams. The finishing, the final ball. And
it's tough to predict whether you'll figure that out in you play a minimum of 5 games. You hope you play 7. I mean, McCall Zerboni told Marissa before the game, this is going to go by in the blink of an eye.
You want to work out the kinks as quick as possible. At the same time, it's important to remember because we've seen a lot of games already. So, but this is their first game, and so to be able to work all of the rust out or continue to play, continue to find the rhythm, get used to the player next to you, build the rapport and relationships on the field, especially after the condensed preseason, it's not always easy.
Waldmo. Ten minutes gone in this second half. Mike Watts, Lori Lindsay, former NWSL player, WPS player, not WUSA player. No, really?
Yeah.
You aged yourself.
I know. You aged me because I had to call myself out.
Marissa Philadout on the sideline.
I have longevity, okay, Mike?
I hope I have that kind of career longevity. Got by Cox. It is interesting. It's sort of an Olympic Village kind of setup. Teams in different hotels or different areas to live day to day. As Balser took it away from Flores. Balser on the drive. Wants his back post. Wide by Jenkins.
Balser picks the pocket of Flores. And this is a tough ball. I thought she should have cut this back. Jody Taylor was slowed up her run right on top of the 18, or excuse me, right on top of the penalty spot. Just slot that one down on the turf for her to just put that one on frame.
Balser is done. On comes Taylor Smith. Let's go down to Marissa Pilla for more on that choice of substitution. Perhaps we should wait a moment. Long.
I just spoke with OL Reign assistant coach Sam Lady.
Back to Marissa in a moment. Let's get back to Marissa.
I just caught up with OL Reign assistant coach Sam Lady about that Taylor Smith substitution, and he said she'll be playing right forward, and they really want her to use her pace to stretch Sky Blue's back line, go 1v1 with their fullbacks, and get in behind. And then he said very simply, oh, and we just want her to score too.
Fair enough.
Simple standards. Taylor Smith, the forward converted to fullback. Spent time in North Carolina, was involved in that blockbuster Crystal Dunn trade between Washington and North Carolina in 2018.
Mike, we've seen a lot of subs come in, make an impact with their energy, especially as players start to tire, the legs start to wear down. And with the pace that Taylor Smith has and her ability to take players on the dribble, I look forward to seeing what she can bring energy-wise these last 30 minutes or so of this game.
Yellow card shown for this. Well, you have to, right? Alana Cook.
Alana Manu doing a good job of getting herself turned. She would have had Alana Cook beat.
Of note, a second yellow card in this tournament, the preliminary round, means you would be suspended for the following match. So Cook is on a short-term contract on loan from PSG. Has to keep that in mind. Waldmo, the free kick. Change is coming. About that time. Richardson comes out. And Jennifer Cujo comes on. Cujo out of Ghana. Arrived through the open tryout process, was a tremendous surprise, and makes her NWSL competitive debut here tonight.
Coon said she's excited about Cujo, just her technical ability. She's smart on the ball. Really added a different element to that midfield of Sky Blue.
Ball lined across. First made that difficult. It'll be a corner. Kawasumi involved in a couple of Sky Blue's best chances so far.
First doing a good job of getting herself higher up the field. Kawasumi, good little near post run.
Offside flag is up. Let's talk about Cujo a little bit more. There was an incredible article in The Equalizer earlier today about her crying in the stands during the 2019 NWSL Championship game. A friend surprised her with tickets to the match, and she said, watching it live, just a different feeling. I felt like this is where I belong. Isn't it amazing that she very much belongs on this field right now?
You love stories like that, just players who love the game, want to continue to get better. I don't know how many players that play in the NWSL going to watch other teams play in the final.
An article worth your time on equalizersoccer.com. Quinn ran into Eddie, but kept possession. Lewandowski. Cruz, leading ball. Cujo is there. Describe your debut. I mean, you must be walking on air, right?
So long ago, I can't remember, Mike. Honestly, I'm struggling.
What was it, in the NASL? How far back are we going?
I remember my national team debut. I'll get to it. Oh, you're always excited. All the hard work you put in, all the hours behind the scenes that a lot of players and coaches and fans don't see. To be able to get on the field with friends and people that you worked hard with, always exciting. And it's important to remember, it's so difficult for a lot of players to make teams too, because this competition is so tough. This gives an opportunity for a lot of these young players and a lot of newcomers coming into the league experience.
Last year with the World Cup, a great opportunity for some young players to latch on, get minutes. This year with the Challenge Cup could say the same. One would imagine, should the Olympics take place next summer, as anticipated now, would be the case again. And anticipated expansion in the league opens up even more roster spots. Lori's going to get offered a contract. People don't realize, we talk with coaches every week, if they don't suggest that you at least consider coming out of retirement, if not outright ask you to.
They haven't seen me run in years.
Yeah. It's Quinn. Canadian over to Cox. Got by Cruz. Now slashed wide. Smith.
And I've seen Shirley Cruz play for Costa Rica, and how she controls the ball, her technical ability, getting in those half spaces. She's so difficult to defend. Tonight I feel like she's a half step off. Kind of goes back to Reign coach Marie talking about, will she be able to understand or how long will it take her to get up to the level of the NWSL in terms of the physicality compared to Europe. And finding some good spots, it's just can't get a footing on it, can't continue to connect those passes.
Of course, some experience in CONCACAF gives a better idea, right, with Costa Rica?
Absolutely, and just her international experience in general will give her that understanding. Important to remember, it's first game, OL Reign, rebuilding as well, new ideas, new coaching staff, how they want to play. All important aspects of players fitting into the lineup, into the mold.
All for Kawasumi, one extra touch on Manu chasing at the back. Barnes. But to your point, both coaches described the same word in how they were approaching this first game, approaching this tournament: humility. For OL Reign, it's humility in knowing it's a new coach, adding new pieces. For Sky Blue, Freya Kuhn was there at the end of last year, but that was the conversation in their team talk a few days ago.
And it goes back to what we've been talking about a lot, which is every team's approach is different. What they're trying to get out of this tournament, what that looks like. And both of these teams absolutely talked about the importance of winning, building confidence, having a winning mentality, but at the same time, it's not the end-all be-all. Looking to see what pieces fit together, where they can still make improvements going into the 2021 season. As you mentioned, there'll be expansion draft, Louisville coming into the mix.
They're going to open that gorgeous 11,000 seat stadium, Lynn Family Stadium, in a few weeks. And the USL Championship and the NWSL side will be shortly behind. They'll open it next year. I mean, how many coaches did we talk to say, yeah, we made some trades, allocation money can be valuable to keep players from getting taken in an expansion draft, moving around allocated players depending on how many you can protect. I mean, it made a major impact this year.
Oh, I was part of the draft this year, and how wild and how fun it was. So
that
many
week was great.
so many moving parts. It was unbelievable. But again, so fun because you start to see how it becomes a puzzle piece for a lot of these teams, looking into the future, the needs of the team. That's why we saw Portland go so aggressive in the draft, getting Sophia Smith, getting Morgan Weaver, knowing that they're preparing for the next year, rebuilding their team. They're not the only one.
Turned back by Flores. Meg Linehan had a great article in January, actually, behind the scenes of the Sky Blue draft. There's some nuggets worth paying attention in there. As to their mentality, thought process, roster build over in the Athletic. Kawasumi got the cross away, bouncing down to the penalty spot. Here's the chance. It's right at Murphy. Went right down the middle. Eddie maybe perhaps a little surprised that got to her at the penalty spot, but still managed to make Murphy work a bit.
And Waldmo doing a good job. That's the half turn we're talking about. In between the lines, she's able to spring Kawasumi. And this is aggressive approach by McNabb that lands right to the feet of Elizabeth Eddy. She does a good job with that first touch, but then fires that straight at Casey Murphy. Doesn't even have to make it a save. Another good look. We're starting to see Kawasumi build into the game. Those midfielders, McCall Zaboni, Waldmo that we were talking about getting on the ball more. They're starting to find those half spaces. Can they continue to be even more aggressive? Play a little bit more vertical than we've seen them.
Anamanu got it wide. Eddie takes McNabb one-on-one. McNabb slides in. Corner Sky Blue, 72nd minute. It wasn't until the 75th minute that North Carolina scored in the opener. That's the latest the opening goal has been scored thus far in the tourney.
And I like the addition of Elizabeth Eddy coming into this game. Her movement has allowed McCall to get out wide. There's just been more fluidity in the attack, interchange between her and those midfielders.
Ball toward Anamanu. Pinned down, floated up near the penalty spot. Pujo did well to make sure OL Reign didn't break out. Cook. Barnes. Anamanu pressuring. Back to Murphy. Casey Murphy out of Rutgers. Played in France, had a tremendous year. Ultimately 20 starts last year for OL Reign after Betos was injured early in the season. Cox. Downshifting. Smith. Lays back for Quinn. That recovery, brilliant. But Quinn floats. Too far for Taylor. Recovery by Zerboni really stunted that for Quinn for a moment.
And that's what Zerboni will bring. Just that tenacity, her willingness to put her body, get behind the ball defensively.
As we've reached the hydration break in this second half between OL Reign and Sky Blue FC. Still scoreless, both sides looking for a point or more to begin their NWSL Challenge Cup. You're watching the NWSL on CBS Sports. Lori, let's talk about Twitter for a minute, shall we? It's the content we were looking for, correct? Let's talk about Lisa Baird, the new commissioner of the NWSL. Going back and forth with Meg Linehan. People may not realize there is a small playground set near the stadium. It's in view. And Lisa Baird made a promise This Bud's for us. Lisa Baird follows through on her word.
This is the content we need. Actually, now we need her going down the slide, though. Let's get a video.
Well, that's my question. She's at the bottom of the slide. Did she slide? I would imagine so. And not just Lisa Baird. This is a family operation. Caroline Baird is working camera number 9 for us right now. This was her earlier. Will be with us for the whole tournament. Just finished her sophomore year at Colgate. Very much into cinema. And out there grabbing some warm-up shots for us. It is a true team effort.
Love to see it.
You love to see it.
I still need a video of the slide.
I know, I know. Late in the second half between OL Reign and Sky Blue FC. Spencer's come on, Taylor comes out. Spencer getting forward on the right-hand side, fresh into the game, and those fresh legs have it drop down in front. Momiki came in a moment ago as well. Handful of changes, Lori, at that hydration break. Chance to get some fresh legs on and go for a win.
And some of these substitutes have shifted it around. We see Momiki coming in for Steph Cox. That's pushed Taylor Smith back to the right back position.
Good to see Rosie White coming on. That's the end of the day for Shirley Cruz. Great news for Rosie White in New Zealand. The World Cup.
Gonna be unbelievable.
I'm not sure I'm supposed to root for or against a certain bid, but I was rooting for that bid. Australia and New Zealand will be hosting the next Women's World Cup. Another sub coming for Sky Blue. Couple. Anamanu checks in. Evelyn Vienne makes her NWSL debut. 5th overall pick out of USF. Under the tutelage there of Denise Schulte-Brown, native of Quebec. And Erica Skrosky comes on, 2016 draft pick. Midge Purse comes off. Her debut for Sky Blue is concluded. Some fans in the stands. Some folks are inside the bubble, so to speak. Of course, the teams have been keeping a close eye on these as well. Spencer. Step in by Zerboni, and Sky Blue has won it back.
It's great to see Spencer on the field, coming off that ACL. Not starting the regular season as planned, allowed her for some extra time in her recovery, but such a spark off the bench. Been a difference maker when she checks in late into the game. Talk about a player that likes to run it back lines with the ball and without the ball, and really caused some issues.
Let's see what Lauren Barnes can do with this. Barnes. That flicked out of play. Nab got up to meet it.
At the beginning of the game, Mike, we talked about the internationals, new internationals coming into this team. Momiki, Japanese international. Rosie White played for Reign after the World Cup last year, but again, a newer international. And these are the players that are coming off the bench. Once everyone starts to mold, starts to understand the system, buying into what they're trying to do, you gotta imagine look at how many special players this team has.
Chance here, deflected, diving. Sheridan made sure that didn't become a real problem. Jenkins getting forward for OL Reign. A little slow for Estelle Johnson getting back to her feet.
And another tough giveaway that gives the Reign this opportunity. This isn't an easy save. Well done by Kaylin Sheridan to keep her feet moving. This one starts to take a wicked rebound, little deflection. Keeps her eye on the ball the entire time.
Kawasumi. Spencer only played in one game last year before that knee injury ended her season. Really well-liked player in this league, out of Bayshore in New York. Cujo, good ball through. Bien heavily inside and then runs over Taylor Smith. Bien could be a real spark plug. Anyone who watched USF over the last few years is well aware of that.
Great ball in to her. Even better run by Bien, but that ball in from Cujo just splits that back line, outside back, center back. Anytime you see a rookie willing to take players on, look to cut inside, make things happen, first initial touches of the game, as a coach, you'll take that any day. Bien is a player that Freya Coombe talked to us about, saying how excited she is, wants her to continue to get experience, build herself in, but does feel like she'll get a ton of minutes going forward in this tournament.
Of note tomorrow, Wednesday's NWSL Challenge Cup action on CBS All Access with pregame and postgame coverage from CBS Sports HQ. Two winners versus each other, two losers against each other from the first match day. Washington, North Carolina. Looks like it has potential to be a final caliber game. And there's already bad blood between Chicago and Portland. Comments by Katie Johnson, I think, have caught Mark Carson's eye. Locker room material. So plenty of reasons to watch Wednesday's NWSL Challenge Cup action. Smith knotted down, got by long. Bien making a darting run. Kawasumi is widened out. Bien trotting into the box. Kawasumi played it square.
Well done by Estella Johnson. Oh, you can see the frustration there. Good step by her to deny Momiki to be able to turn.
Long. Smith. Stayed on side, Spencer. Maybe a chance here. Spencer's broken through. Spencer's first game since a knee injury last year. Sheridan stares it aside. That could have been a storybook moment for Jasmine Spencer, who scored 15 goals in NWSL competition. Sheridan up to the task.
And we've seen Jasmine Spencer do that time and time again, taking players on late in the game, but we've also seen Kaylin Sheridan do this time and time again, especially last season, keeping her team in the game, denying a great opportunity by Jasmine Spencer here late in this game. Jasmine Spencer can't keep it low. Plays it right into the hands of Sheridan, but Sheridan, well done to be able to keep that, her footing, be able to keep that one out of the back of the net as well.
Fans in our secret virtual watch party powered by Google Meet. Of note, they actually have those faces up on the scoreboard as well, so I think players are well aware that they're being watched. Sheridan, heavy touch, knocks off of Spencer and bounces slowly, pittering out in the 6-yard box. That looked pretty familiar to what we saw. Now, obviously, different scenario, drop kick versus live ball. To the Houston-Utah game that finished 3-3 earlier. The end. Now comes Murphy.
This game has certainly opened up a bit here. Back and forth the last few minutes. I love the tenacity, the energy that Jasmine Spencer brings. When she starts games, she's good, taking players on the dribble, helping stay wide, create chances from the width, cross balls in. But when you bring her on late, her energy, her work ethic, I had the fortune of playing with her our first year in the NWSL, and the quality of teammate she is. She fights her team, wants her team to be successful, wants everyone, all the players to be successful.
Nearly another turnover in the back, and this time Cujo fouled by White. Throw for Sky Blue. There's going to be plenty of stoppage time after the earlier hydration break. We've had an 89th minute equalizer and a 94th minute game winner so far in this tournament. It's the 4th game overall. These teams 7 and 8 of 8 to make their 2020 debut at the Challenge Cup. Being played in the backdrop of being the first professional team sport to return in the United States. So far, the action, I think, has been a major boost, I think, for a lot of NWSL fans who just wanted to see the game come back, but also domestic soccer fans that want to see the game in their country back in the U.S.
It's such an exciting time. We were excited. I mean, even us.
I know, I know. Kawasumi trying to play a give and go. Allie Long, regular for the U.S. women's national team, 51 caps. Miki returns. Come off a moment ago. Cujo. The line by Skrosky. Sky Blue looking for what could be a late winner. Spin by Eddie, and there's the space for Sky Blue. Cut back to the penalty spot. Second effort could lead to a third. Eddie waiting. Oh my gosh, it didn't get out. Now the ball launched. Lori, that was a fair ball. 4 minutes of added time. Well, Sky Blue on the front foot here. How much are you willing to push those numbers and maybe expose yourself to get that great chance here late in the game?
So late in the game, you have to have a balance between sending numbers forward, taking some risks, but also just making sure you have cover defensively.
Flores battling with Spencer. Ball bounding, caught by Murphy. 12 goals in 3 games to start the tournament. 2-1 North Carolina over Portland, 2-1 Washington over Chicago, Utah drawing 3-3 earlier today against Houston Dash. For all the firsts we've had so far, we haven't had a first shutout, so maybe that's on the way. Maybe they can do it together. Time will tell. Jenkins. Zerboni, who will go the distance in her first appearance to the side from New Jersey. Kawasumi against her former club. A little too far for Waldmo. Cujo steps in. Zerboni knocks it back to Smith. VN. Lauren Barnes. Rain trying to be selective late on here. Quinn and Zerboni battling. Players collide outside of Eddie.
And these last little seconds for both teams kind of sums up this entire game. There's some good bouts of possession, some good movement, and then in the final third it breaks down, miscommunication, not on the same page. And I imagine with both of these teams after this game and watch the film back, that's something they'll talk about at their next training session going into the next game.
Here come OL Reign. He was making that run down the middle. Spencer was following. And it'll be a goal kick here for Sky Blue to try and make something of this late. Zerboni by Barnes. Pressure arrives from Waldmo. Final seconds. New look OL Reign. This Sky Blue side. For a late difference maker, and the referee blows for full time. First scoreless draw of the NWSL Challenge Cup between OL Reign and Sky Blue FC.
And not as much urgency with both of these teams going forward and defensively as we expected. But at the same time, some good spouts of possession. But now, how can they put that into more goal-scoring chances, more opportunities in the final third, creating overloads, both of these teams. And as we were just talking about a second ago, I imagine going forward, that'll be the missing piece or the final piece that they start to work on leading into their second game.
Something to keep in mind. Neither team will play tomorrow, but they both start with a point. Plenty more coming. You're watching the NWSL Challenge Cup presented by P&G and Secret. Returning to Utah, the NWSL Challenge Cup's opening game for all 8 teams in the books now. Sky Blue and OL Reign grab a point apiece as seeding in the balance in this preliminary round, the opening 4 games. Speaking of the preliminary round, it continues on Wednesday with 2 games. Portland taking on Chicago, 12:30 Eastern. Coverage begins at 12:15 on CBS Sports HQ. Washington, North Carolina, Wednesday night. Storylines galore, Lori.
And hopefully goals galore. Looking at some of these matchups, and all the teams now have played at least one game. Going to be some exciting soccer ahead, and it's really going to be about teams managing going forward. How can they recover quickly from these games? Because new coming in, there's going to be quick turnaround.
Well, we'll talk with one of the stars on the field. It's a 0-0 game here with the lights on after this. Time for the secret no-sweat play of the game. Into the 85th minute we go for today's secret no-sweat play of the game.
And Jasmine Spencer adding a much-needed spark to this OL Reign attack late in this half, or in this game. But Kaylin Sheridan showing why she's such an important part to the success of Sky Blue, keeping that one out of the back of the net, one of the best chances of the game.
Let's go down to Marissa Pilla with McCall Zerboni of Sky Blue.
McCall, a scoreless draw to open up the Challenge Cup for your team, but how can your team use this result to build a foundation going forward?
Yeah, I think we showed some positive things out there. Obviously, we didn't get the result. We weren't able to put one in the back of the net, but I'm happy with the shutout. I think we gained a lot of fans today. I think we showed a lot of bright things, and it's only up from here. So, I'm proud to be a part of this club and what we're a part of and what we're about to do, and we're going to keep growing, and there's good things to come still, so we can't be disappointed, but obviously we wanted the result.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
So for Lori Lindsay, Marissa Pilla, and our entire crew, Mike Watts saying for more NWSL highlights and analysis, CBS Sports HQ as he covered. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network.